Mangwanani, Ngalelepo, Bugenjani, Vanabe, Africa. Welcome to this edition of Africa Good Morning, where we keep you abreast with the latest happenings across the continent. My name is Aina Raizakoya, alongside Diana Master. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I love that you have a bright smile on a Tuesday morning.
I always have a bright smile. When have you ever known me to not have a bright smile?
Never.
Exactly. It's Tuesday.
I withdraw that statement.
It's Tuesday. We're choosing happiness. So, of course, we have to have the brightest smiles on.
Yeah, definitely. We will be right back shortly with news from across the continent. Stay with us. Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. Let's get into our news-making headlines. Youth wants a public university in Western Province. Youth in Keyama district in the Western Province have called on the government to consider constructing a public university there. Youth representative Muyendekwa Mwadimina said Western Province has had no public university from the time of immemorial. Now, Mwadima said the lack of a higher learning institution has forced many to travel from the Western Province to Lusaka and Copperbelt to access tertiary education. She was speaking during a provincial commemoration of Youth Day that was held at the Kenyama district under the theme Transforming Minds of Accelerated Youth Development, and as well as officiating the event, Western Province Minister Kapelwa Mbengweta reaffirmed the government's commitment to improving the education system through the introduction of free education and increased budgetary allocation for skills and vocational training in the region. Now, in our second story, Mashaba disappoints Baloyi's looming exit from ActionSA, leaked to the media. ActionSA Gauteng leader Bongani Baloyi was expected to resign from a party today amid irreconcilable differences on the running of the provincial structure and the difference of the opinion about the public policy issue. Baloyi joined ActionSA a year ago from the Democratic Alliance and is a former Midval mayor. Despite the party's strong stance against working with the African Congress, Baloyi has been agitating for the party to change its stance. However, Herman Mashaba is said to have vehemently rejected the suggestion. Political analyst Kolani Dube said some who joined ActionSA found they have not navigated between Mashaba's conviction and the current political climate. They are saying if we are not going to be flexible, it means we are going to go hungry. And Mashaba says, Mashaba is saying, I will rather go hungry. I'll rather go hungry. And Mashaba is saying rather, I'll rather go hungry, but he knows very well that his financial issue is secure.
All right, now getting into our next story. Money in a failed U.S. bank is safe, and this is according to the U.S. government. People and businesses who have deposited money with failed U.S. bank Silicon Valley Bank will be able to access all their cash from Monday, the U.S. government has said. A statement from the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation said depositors would be fully protected. The taxpayer will not bear any losses from the move, the statement said. SVB was shut down by regulators who seized its assets on Friday. It was the largest failure of a U.S. bank since the financial crisis in 2008. The move came as the firm, a key tech lender, was scrambling to raise money to plug a loss from the sale of assets affected by higher interest rates. The U.S. banking system remains resilient and on a solid foundation, in large part due to reforms that were made after the financial crisis that ensured better safeguards for the banking industry, the authorities' joint statement said. Those reforms, combined with today's actions, demonstrate our commitment to take the necessary steps to ensure that depositors' savings remain safe. Those actions also apply to Signature Bank of New York, seen as the most vulnerable institution after SVB, which came under regulatory control on Sunday. As part of their moves to restore confidence, regulators also unveiled a new way to give banks access to emergency funds. The Federal Reserve said it would offer assistance through a new bank term funding program, making it easier for banks to borrow from it in a crisis.
Now, the Bank of Mozambique is concerned with the proliferation of pyramid schemes. The Bank of Mozambique has warned of proliferation on the domestic market of entities aimed at attracting deposits from individuals without being licensed for this purpose. Generally, institutions acting illegally in the financial field adhere to the financial pyramid scheme. Financial pyramids are fraudulent business schemes that are characterized by the promise of making money in short term, usually in the form of interest and deposited amounts. These interest rates are often much higher than the average practice on the market and increase with the recruitment of more depositors by the people involved, reads the central bank alert. According to the document, the entry of the new people to make deposit appears to offer income to all those involved. However, as a pyramid grows, as a result of the trust of the depositors in the scheme, there is not enough money to pay everyone, and in the end, most people lose out.
Now moving over to Nigeria, opposition trying to tarnish government Yahaya's image, Gombe APC alleges. The Gombe State Campaign Council of the All Progressive Congress on Monday said the opposition is making smear efforts to tarnish the image of the incumbent governor Muhammadu Yahaya and his associates in a bid to woo voters. According to the Director, Media and Publicity of the APC Campaign Council, Ismaila Masili, the opposition wants to capitalize on the extension to score cheap political points. The statement, however, did not categorically state the exact political party involved. The statement partly read, "It has come to the attention of the Gombe State APC Campaign Council that some unscrupulous elements in the opposition in the state have concluded plans to come up with concerted smear campaigns against Governor Muhammadu Inua Yahaya, who is the governorship candidate of our party in the coming days. We have credible intelligence that those opposition elements are working in cohort with their paymasters to dish out outright falsehood against our candidate and other party chieftains as part of their last attempts to hoodwink the Gombe electorate, who have since made up their minds to re-elect Governor Inua for a second term."
There has been a good turnout on day one of final voter registration. The final 10-day national mobile biometric voter registration exercise began yesterday, with some people excited that they will be voting for the first time this year. The mobile voter registration exercise, which has a budget of $24 billion and ends on the 21st of March, is being conducted by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. Yesterday, the Herald visited several voter registration centers in Harare and found that in some areas people turned up in their numbers, whilst others recorded low turnout. In a separate interview, the prospective voter thanked ZEC for affording them an opportunity to register for the forthcoming elections. Gibson Zirasamagaza of the Sanigadla said, "I am happy that I have managed to register. I will be voting this year for the first time."
All right, that brings us to the end of our top stories, but do stick around because after the break, we're going to be crossing on over to Zambia to speak to Mr. Mike Sichila to give us the latest news there.
NMH at 1 brings you news from all across Namibia. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact NMH1 at synergy.com.na. NMH at 1, your lunchtime news companion.
Now over in Zambia, a war of words is brewing between President Hakainde Hichilema and former President Edgar Lungu, who is eyeing a political comeback in 2026. Here to give us the full details of the story, Mr. Mike Sichula. Good morning, Mr. Sichula. Please take it away.
Africa, good morning. Yes, indeed, President Hakainde Hichilema has warned former President Edgar Lungu to desist from championing a return to power, saying he allowed the former head of state freedom to unite the country and not as a sign of weakness. The president was speaking in Kitwe on the Copper Belt when he addressed UPND party structures, and the president said the former head of state should stop enjoying his movement, his freedoms, including going to church like he did if the current regime did not decided to accord him the same mistreatment he subjected Mr. Hichilema while he was in office. We can now switch on to the video, a short video where President Hakainde Hichilema did warn President Lungu against championing his political comeback.
I'm handing over power to myself, and when I come back, I will lock up that chap, and this time he will die in prison. Now me, I'm seated here. You think you can come back and lock me up and kill me?
All right, now, Master
So that is
Sichula.
the short video that President Hichilema has. I told Mr. Lungu to respect himself if he wants to be respected as a former head of state. The former president has not commented on this latest statement that Mr. Hichilema has made.
Master Sichula, what could he possibly say after that statement? But moving on, we understand that Zambia will receive the injectable antiretroviral drug in October this year. Briefly update our viewers on this.
Yes, the Ministry of Health has announced that the Zambia will receive the first injectable ARV in October this year. According to the Director of Infectious Diseases, Dr. Royd Mulenga, the injectable ARV is offered for prevention of HIV among people in high risk of acquiring the virus through a method called perplexics. So he was speaking after the closure of the country operational core planning meeting in South Africa. Professor Mulenga said the planned arrival is in response to the presidential directive, but also to the urgent need for enhancing prevention of the virus.
All right, now experts working on the conversion of the Tazama pipeline have projected to finish works by Saturday next week. What's the status update?
Yes, the latest update is that works have reached 90%. So what is happening is that the government of Zambia is converting the Tazama pipeline from being a conduit of commingled feedstock into one carrying finished products. This pipeline was designed to bring crude oil from Dar es Salaam into Zambia. But with the change of weather and the change of plans, the pipeline is being converted so that it stops transporting crude, but only to transport finished oil products. So according to the Energy Minister, Peter Kapala, he explained that all the crude oil which was in the pipeline, the time Indeni refinery was shut down in April 2021, has been removed, stored, and is ready to be refined. So this is the latest update on this development which is implementing.
All right, and finally, a housewife has been dragged to court for beating her husband after he refused to give her money for rent. Tell us about this. Very interesting.
Well, a 41-year-old expectant Lusaka housewife has been dragged to court for beating her husband during an argument after he refused to give her house rent, money for house rent amounting to 200 kwacha, which is less than $10. Sendai Banda has been charged with the offense of assault occasioning bodily harm. Allegations are that on February the 2nd this year, Tendai assaulted Wiseman Zimba, her husband. The issue is that on a material day, the accused approached the spouse for money so that she could pay rent, to which the victim told his wife that he did not have the money. But when the wife checked his wallet, she did found the money and she got the money, which made the husband to get annoyed, and there was a scuffle between the two. But unfortunately, the husband was injured in this matter where he was arguing with his pregnant wife.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sichula, for updating us on all the latest happenings in Zambia.
Thank you so much, Africa. Good morning.
All right, now let's take a look at the weather predictions to see if we're going to have an Africa good day.
In economic news this morning, load shedding cost MTN 695 million rand as it gears up for stage 8. South Africa's second biggest mobile network estimated that load shedding cost its South African operation 695 million rand in 2022 alone. In the MTN Group annual results for 2022, the telecoms operator said that operating conditions were significantly impacted by national grid power availability, worsening in the second half of the year. We estimate that the overall effect of load shedding on the top line and costs resulted in a negative impact of 695 rand million on MTN South Africa's earning before interest, tax deductions and amortizations, MTN said.
Now moving over to Tanzania, Brela, in a fresh move to curb dubious activities, Brela is setting up a special national register to document the identified owners of all business operations in order to deal with issues of companies operating like smokescreens that conceal dubious activities. The Business Registrations and Licensing Agency has convened a meeting with relevant authorities in Arusha to create a seamless network of official information portals to help keep the local firms, as well as their international associates, closely monitored to ensure they adhere to laws and regulations.
Let's have a look at our economic indicators.
Yo, Joe, what's up, man? Congratulations on your new promotions, man. Give these men a drink.
Coming right up. Hi, Joe.
Please drive sober. I didn't.
Now let's talk sport with Arik Hogad.
Good day, everyone. Time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news. And it is the BNP Paribas Open, also called the Indian Welsh Masters, being played in California. And it's a big thousands tournament. It's called a thousands tournament because all the top men and women players in the world play in this tournament. And on the WTA women's side, firstly, it's Jessica Pegula of the United States. A tough first or three setters she had to go through in the round of 32, but she beat Anastasia Potapova of Russia by 3-6, 6-4 and 7-5 through to the round of 16 then for her. Also Ons Jabeur of Tunisia through to the next round, also a three-setter, beating Magdalena French of Poland by 4-6, 6-4 and 6-1. Other seeded players through to the round of 16 is Coco Gauff of the United States, number 6 seed, and also Caroline Garcia of France. She's the number 5 seed in the women's division. Moving on to the ATP side, the men's side, it is number 3 seed Casper Ruud of Norway. He's out of the tournament. He lost to a qualifier. His name is Christian Garin of Chile. So Garin, 97 in the world. So a big win for him, beating the number 3 in the world by 6-4 and 7-6. Also through to the round of 16 is number 5 seed Daniel Medvedev and also Andrei Rublev, number 6 seed, and the number 1 seed Carlos Alcaraz also safely through to the round of 16. Going on to some golf news, it was on the DP World Tour, the European Tour. It was the magical Kenya Open that was played in Nairobi. Big win for Jorge Campillo. He is from Spain, and he moves up quite a few positions on the world rankings. He moves up 98 positions. He was number 100 or number 257 before the tournament. Winning the tournament, he's now number 159 in the world. His best position ever was 59, so he's getting back to form, trying to get into the top 100 again. Second place was Masahiro Kanawara of Japan. It was Campillo that ended with a total of -18, and Masahiro 2 shots back -16. The best Southern African player is Jaden Schaefer of South Africa. He was tied 10th on a total of -13. Continuing international sports news with cricket news, and it's exciting cricket test, 5-day cricket test that concluded in Christchurch in New Zealand. The home team, New Zealand, beating Sri Lanka. That was on the last ball of official play on the 5th day. That doesn't happen too many times in test cricket. New Zealand winning by 2 wickets, very close in the end. There was actually a run-out review on the last ball for Kane Williamson, the captain, but he was home, in his crease, and he was unbeaten on 121 runs, the man of the match. A big component for him to win the test. What happened in the game was Sri Lanka batted first, 355 in their first innings. New Zealand replied by 372. Then Sri Lanka 302 in their second innings, and New Zealand then in their fourth innings 285 for the loss of 8 wickets. The win of New Zealand means that Sri Lanka can no longer play in the final, can no longer qualify for the final of the ICC Trophy Test Trophy. It's going to be played in June in London. It is confirmed now that Australia they were already through. They will now play against India. That is the final of the ICC Trophy. That will be played on the 7th of June at the Oval in London. Closing off today's international sports news with cycling news, the Paris-Nice Tour that concluded over the weekend. The winner, Tadej Pogačar, and he also won the 8th and final stage. That was his 3rd stage win of the Tour. And it was a tough stage, the 8th stage. It's 5 mountains. They climbed over 118 kilometers. That's in the mountains just behind Nice. So it is Tadej Pogačar of the UAE Team Emirates that won the Tour. He was 53 seconds in front of David Gaudy of France in second position, and it was Jonas Vingegaard that was overall in third position, 1 minute 39 seconds behind Tadej Pogačar. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Please walk responsibly. I did not. Ma'am?
You're watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. Youth wants a public university in Western Province. Mashaba disappointed Baloyi's looming exit from ActionSA leaked to media. Money in failed US bank is safe, and this is according to the US government. Load shedding costs MTN 695 million rand as it gears up for stage 8.
Those have been our stories. We thank you very, very much for joining us on this edition of Africa Good Morning. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, bringing you the pertinent stories from across Africa. From all of us in studio, it's all our love, all our light, and a very beautiful Tuesday.